Okay, this section is on products and quotients of rational expressions. Basically, it's fractions that involve variables, and how do you reduce them after you multiply them. And my rule is try and reduce before you multiply. So if we look at this first one, 2 and 3 don't reduce, 4 and 5 don't reduce, 4 and 3 don't reduce, 2 and 5. So I check straight up and down and on the diagonal for reducing. No reducing can happen, so I straight up do the multiplying. 2x times 4x, 8x squared. 3z times 5y, 15zy. Answer. Check to see if you can reduce. There are no common factors in terms of the variables or the numbers. So let's go to the next one. Here, before I multiply, I noticed that I could reduce the 4 and the 10. They both divide by 2, so I like to do that first. So 2 into 4 is 2, 2 into 10 is 5. Next thing I like to do is check to see if there are any variables. Y squared with y squared. And then I notice z to the third and z squared, they're not the same, but they can reduce. I can reduce 2 of the z's here and 2 here to leave a z. Now, multiply what's left. 2z times 9, 18z. 7 times 5, 35. I should check again to see if any of these reduce. Sometimes I don't get all the reducing done in the first step, so always check your answer. Next one, notice there's a division sign. That requires an extra step. I hope you remember that you have to change the sign to multiply. So let's rewrite 3x to the third over 4b. Remember, write your b as cursive so it doesn't look like a 6. Change this to a times sign, and do you remember what you do? Invert the fraction. All right, now I can multiply. First I want to check for reducing. I notice a 4 with a 4, b with a b, x to the third with an x to the third. Final answer, 3 times 1 times 1 times 1, 3. 1 times 1 times 1, 1. 3 over 1 equals 3. That's the final answer. So those were pretty easy. You're going to get some more difficult examples to do also, so I've got a couple of those to show you. All right, here's another one. Let's take this one. I can reduce this 2 with this 4. They're straight up and down this time, which is a little different. So 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice. I can reduce this b with one of these, so it leaves b squared. I can reduce that y with that, and that x, these become 1's, with this x. All right, so what have I got left on the bottom? 1 times 1 times 2 times a, 2a. On the top, b squared times 1 times x. So x b squared. And again, you could have written this b squared x, doesn't really matter. All right, this one is pretty tricky. Because of the plus and minus signs, remember my rule from the last lesson? Parentheses. You can only reduce if you have an exact parenthesis here. So let's rewrite this in factored form. And we're going to rewrite all of them. a to the third doesn't really factor. All right, a squared minus 2a plus 1 factors into 2 parentheses. Do you know what that is? A times a for the a squared, 1 times 1 for the 1. I either need 2 plus signs or 2 minus signs. What do you think? Hope you said minus. All right, let's do a common factor here. What's the largest common factor I can do? A squared. That leaves a minus 6. What about the bottom? No common factor, so it looks like we're 2 parentheses again here. All right, a and a. And I need a 3 and a 1. And I need a plus and a minus. Plus in the middle, so let's go with a plus 3 and a minus 1. Now, I look at this and I see what can factor. if I have an exact parenthesis, I can cross it out. Do I have another a plus 3 anywhere? No. Oh, how about an a minus 1? There we go. How about this a squared with this? Or should I do this a with this? Oh no, this is in a parenthesis. I can only cross out the whole thing, so be careful. All right, so a squared, cross out 2 of these, leaves the a. So my final answer, a minus 6, a minus 1. On the top, on the bottom, I have an a and an a plus 3. And that's the final answer. And don't bother multiplying this out. It's best to leave it in factored form. So, want to try another one? All right, here we go. This one's even trickier. Divide. What do you think I have to do there? Change it to multiply. Before I write this down, though, I know that that can factor. Let's put my parentheses. Remember the rule. Plus or minus signs, you need a parenthesis. Bottom doesn't factor, so we'll leave it 3x plus 4. This factors. I hope you notice it's a difference of 2 squares. 1 minus x, 1 plus x. Okay, what about this? Oh, I have to flip it over first. So let's put the x squared plus x minus 2 down here, and the 9x squared plus 24x plus 16 here. I don't have any factors that reduce yet, but I need to rewrite that one. So let's just copy this down. 1 minus x, 1 plus x, 3x plus 4, and we'll factor. I think they both factor. All right, the bottom looks easier. How about a plus 2 and a minus 1? X plus 2, x minus 1. Remember when you're determining the plus or minus here? Since the middle has a plus, the bigger number should get the plus. And I double check. Middle 2x, middle negative 1x adds up to x. So I'm good here. All right, let's check this other one. Factors for 9. Oh boy, I could use 9 and 1 or 3 and 3. I could use 16 and 1, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 and 12 is 24. We're going to go with 3x and 3x and 4 and 4. What about signs? All plus, I hope you figured out. Now, this one's sometimes tricky to factor, so remember, if you get stuck, list all the factors. I could have listed all the factors of 16. If you can't quickly factor something, list the factors and go by that. And I could have listed all the factors of 9. 9 times 1, 3 times 3, minus 9 times minus 1, minus 3 times minus 3. And this combination with all of those 6, that's 6 possibilities. This one with all of those, another 6. This one, another 6. This one, another 6. So there's a lot of possibilities. Sometimes you don't see the answer right off. All right, so we got this factored. Do we have any parentheses exactly the same? Oh yeah, there we go. Now, this is interesting. They're almost the same. I wish this was x minus 1. Guess what? We can make that wish come true with the minus 1 trick. I can multiply this by 2 minus 1s. The first minus 1 I write down. The second one I use to write this as minus 1 plus x, but then I write it x minus 1. I write it backwards. Why? Look at that. Nice. So, final answer is, so that was gone. On the top, I have a 1 plus x. I have a 3x plus 4. I have a minus 1. On the bottom, I have an x plus 2. Don't forget that minus 1. Now, the final answer could have some other forms. So, I'm not really worried about it. because if you get a form that's a little bit different, I usually recognize them. Sometimes the answer book just writes the -1 out in front of the whole fraction. Sometimes they distribute the -1 to one of the terms. So, multiple number of answers. I'll figure out if you have the right answer if this is on a test. Not to worry.